Hey, what's up guys? Combat Critique here. In this video, I want to give my pick for this upcoming fight between Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos and Abubakar Nurmagomedov. So let's get started. If we talk about the records of these two guys, starting with dos Santos, he has 30 fights and he's won 23, lost 7. If we talk about his 23 wins, 14 have come via knockout. So almost half of his wins are via knockout. Just 3 have come via submission and 6 have come via decision. If we talk about his 7 losses, only one time he's been knocked out, and this was in the UFC in the Li Jingliang fight, and he's been submitted twice and he's lost via decision 4 times. Now let's talk about Abubakar. He has 21 fights, he's won 17, lost 3, and he has 1 draw on his record. If we talk about his 17 wins, 6 have come via knockout, 4 have come via submission and 7 have come via decision. If we talk about his 3 losses, one has come via knockout and the other 2 have come via submission. Let's talk about some of the physical stats of these two guys and the career stats. Starting with the height, it is 5'11 for Dos Santos and also 5'11 for Abubakar. Both these guys are welterweights, and reach is 73 inches for Dos Santos and it is 72 inches for Abubakar. So a slight 1 inch reach advantage goes to Dos Santos. Stance, both these guys are orthodox stance fighters. If we talk about the age, so Dos Santos is the older guy by about 3 years and he is, I believe, around 37, whereas Abubakar is, almost in his prime right now. Even though his record will have you suggest that he is not in his prime, but still, physically he should be in his prime right now. Now let's talk about the career statistics, and starting with the striking numbers. First up, we have the strikes landed per minute. This signifies the number of significant strikes that you land on your opponent per minute on average. This is 4.65 for Dos Santos and it is 3.17 for Abubakar. So Dos Santos is the busier guy. He will have an advantage here. He lands a lot more strikes on his opponents compared to Abubakar. Striking accuracy is 42% for Dos Santos and it is 53% for Abubakar. So Abubakar is more accurate with his strikes and strikes absorbed per minute. This signifies the number of significant strikes that you absorb from your opponent per minute on average. This is 3.22 for Dos Santos and it is 2.53 for Abubakar. So in this case, you want this number to be as low as possible because you don't want to get hit by your opponent. So in this case, the advantage goes to Abubakar. He gets hit lesser than Dos Santos. Striking defense is 58% for Dos Santos and it is 66% for Abubakar. So again, an advantage goes to Abubakar. Now let's talk about the wrestling, grappling and PJJ statistics. Takedown average is 0.52 for Dos Santos and it is 1.37 for Abubakar. This signifies the number of takedowns that you go for in a 15-minute fight. So Abubakar will have an advantage here. Takedown accuracy is 15% for Dos Santos and it is 30% for Abubakar. So again, he will have an advantage. Takedown defense is 62% for Dos Santos and it is 85% for Abubakar. Again, the advantage goes to Abubakar. Now, next up we have the submission average. It is 0.4 for Dos Santos and it is just 0 for Abubakar. Abubakar has never attempted a submission in the UFC and this is his most troublesome area, I'll say. And in this case, the BJJ advantage, the submission advantage, actually goes to Dos Santos. Now let's talk about the significant strikes by position. So in the last slide, we saw the significant strikes. Now let's see which of these fighters are better standing, clinch, and on the ground. So if we talk about Dos Santos, 72% of his strikes are in the standing position, 22% are in the clinch, and 6% are on the ground. So he is doing most of his work standing and in the clinch. If we talk about Abubakar, 92% of his strikes are in the standing position and this is really very high. He just has 7% from the clinch and surprisingly just 1% on the ground. You would expect somebody who trains with Khabib to have a little bit more, well versed in the ground and pound game, but Abubakar just has 1% of significant strikes from the ground, and I thought this number would have been a lot higher, but that's what it is. And if you talk about the significant strikes by target, so 61% of the strikes of Dos Santos are to the head, 23% to the body, and 16% to the leg. If you talk about Abubakar, 74% to the head, 13% to the body, and again 13% to the leg. So Abubakar is surprisingly headhunting, and that too most of his strikes are standing. He does not have a lot of clinch game. He doesn't have a lot of ground and pound strikes. Whereas if you talk about Dos Santos, he has a lot more variety, and he goes to the body. Also, he uses clinch work also. Now let's look at some of the previous performances of these two guys, starting with Dos Santos. In his last fight, he beat Benoit Saint Denis via unanimous decision in a 3-round fight, and this fight happened in October of 2021. So it's been almost 1.5 years since he last fought. And the fight before that, he was robbed against Muslim Salikov. He lost via split decision. I think he should have won this fight, and this was a robbery. This fight happened in July of 2020, and if you look at the time difference between these two fights, it is more than a year. So this man really has fought twice in the last 3 years. He's not the most active, and he is nearing his 40s. He is around 37, 38 years old right now. This could play a major factor in this, determining the outcome of his upcoming fight against Abubakar. Before that, he beat Alexei via unanimous decision in a 3-round fight and lost to Li Jingliang via TKO. This is the only KO loss on his record. And before that, he beat Curtis Millender via submission. He beat Luigi Vendramini via knockout, flying knee and punches. He finished Sean Strickland, very good win on his record, and he did it via knockout, spinning wheel kick and punches in the first round. He beat Max Griffin via unanimous decision, and he beat Lyman Good via split decision. If you talk about Abubakar, so his last fight, he beat Gudzi via unanimous decision. This was in October of last year, so he is taking around 5-6 months and coming back. This was a 3-round fight. Before that, he beat Jared Gordon again via unanimous decision. This was in March of 2021. So he's not the most active, but he is more active than Dos Santos, and he is the younger fighter right now. Before that, he lost to David Zawada via submission triangle choke. He is susceptible to submissions, and this fight with Dos Santos can give him trouble in the submission department. This happened, this fight with David Zawada, he got finished in the first round itself. And before that, he was in the PFL. So this man really has 3 UFC fights, significantly less experience for Abubakar in the octagon. Before that, he had a draw against Kojan, and this was in PFL back in 2018. And if you talk about the fight before that, he beat Jonathan Westin via unanimous decision again. So he is kind of a decision machine. If he wins, it will be likely a decision win. And before that, he again got subbed by Pavel Kach. This was back in 2018, and rear naked choke in the second round. Before that, he beat Matt Secor via unanimous decision and John Howard again via unanimous decision. So if Abubakar wins, it will be very likely a decision win. And this is one thing where, Dos Santos, if you look at his wins, he is won via unanimous decision. Again, unanimous decision. Here he has a submission. Here he has a knockout. Again a knockout. So he has variety in his wins. He can knock you out. He can submit you. He has the better BJJ. We saw that in the previous slide. For all these reasons, if I have to pick a winner, I'm going with Dos Santos. I think he has more tools in his arsenal to win this fight. The only thing that concerns me is his activity. He's had 2 fights in the last 3 years, but if he can, get past that, and the fact that he is getting older, I believe he's 37, 38 right now. If he can get past that, I think he'll beat Abubakar. Abubakar is not as good as rest of the Dagestani guys. That's why I'm going with Dos Santos. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video.